another episode of Five Idiots Talking Toys. You know us as the gaggle of morons who collect children's toys. And then we talk about it on Sunday night. Brandon's here. Christopher's here. Charles is here. John Walden's with us. Thank you for joining us on another episode. We're super excited to share some news with you. A couple of weeks ago, we opened our own online toy store, so to speak. It's a Facebook group. It's called Rogue 5 Toys. We're focusing on vintage Star Wars, but we're also going to have many other lines. We're going to have modern stuff as well. So just go onto Facebook, search Rogue 5 Toys, and join us for some fun. And we also now have a 5 Idiots Talking Toys Facebook page, and you can just go to facebook.com/5 Idiots Talking Toys and join us there for everything related to the podcast and the latest episodes. John, I'm going to throw it over to you in a minute. I'm going to remind everybody to subscribe to us on YouTube and get alerted to the latest episodes and chat with us. John, what is the topic tonight? What are we throwing out there?
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I think we're going to be talking repros, and this is a discussion that we'll probably revisit because, I mean, there's so much out there. There's so many reproductions of the weapons, accessories, and stuff like that, that it could probably fill hours of discussion. So tonight we're just going to kind of like a primer, I guess, on reproduction weapons. And, you know, you see some people call them repo. It's not repo. It's repro. Reproduction. So, yeah, and thanks again last week. I was asleep when you guys were recording.
In a gutter, is that correct?
I was not in a gutter, but I drove all night Saturday night to get to Cincinnati, and I pulled into the parking lot at 7:30, and David Sean texted me and said, "You here yet?" I was like, "Yeah, I think I'm here," but I went to toy show all day, and then I was like, "I'm going to take a nap. I'm just going to take a little nap, and then wake up at 9:30," and I woke up, and it was 5 a.m. So that's where I was last Sunday. But anyway, Cincinnati Toy Show, just a little recap. It was pretty cool. A lot of great vendors with a lot of vintage stuff. There was a lot of vintage stuff. So, but anyway, so how should we get started on this repro thing? I've got a bunch of repros right here. Who wants to start us off? What are the concerns mainly with
John? I have one question just to start us off with the topic. Out of any of us, I loosely have an idea, but when did repro weapons start? When did people or companies start reproducing weapons? Was that like in the early 90s, once you got a handful of years past vintage and people realized how much stuff was missing, you know, that they needed to possibly replace? That's kind of the feeling I have. I don't know if anybody has a different feeling. It's been around for a while, but it's picked up steam over the years.
Mm-hmm. I think it's the early 90s also is really when it, started.
Yeah, because I hear all the time, excuse me, I hear all the time people like, I've had this since like 92, 93 or whatever, and it's a repro weapon with the figure, So it's been around for at least 30 years, I'd say.
And they're also lying too. So,
well, that's true. Some people are lying. This is in my Darth Vader case from when I was 7 years old. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, that is a good point, though. If for any of the new collectors out there who are watching with us, if you have a conversation with somebody, I've heard this before, and they tell you, "Oh, I've had this in my collection for 20 years," or somebody gave this to me who I know has had it for a long time. Reproduction weapons have been around for a while, so you do still have to look out for that.
Because it is pretty prevalent right now. I think I've seen more repros recently than I have in a long time. And
I'll agree with that. Yeah, it's been a lot in the last like 6 months with the prices going up and everything. There's been a lot.
Mm-hmm. Everybody thinks that they can make some money off of the figures in repro now, so they're trying their best to get rid of all they got.
No, most of the repros though are like so obvious though that I mean, for me it's so obvious, I guess. But
I picked up a collection actually not too long ago, and the guy swore he's had it for over 20 years, and there was a bunch of like repro pieces in it, so it's been around for a long time, and you know, it's probably gonna stick around for a while.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I've thought about, I've kind of changed my tune on it a little bit. If somebody wants to sell repro, they should be able to sell it, but they should also be able to. They should also have to, disclose that it's a reproduction, because a lot of people like to have the original accessories and stuff. I like to have the original. So that's why I have a section of repros right here, because when I get a collection in, sometimes I'll, all the time I'll go through and sometimes I'll find a repro and stick it in there, just so I have something as a reference. A lot of people say burn it. I don't, I don't. I break them sometimes just to see, because there are different types of material that they use too. Some use the white hard plastic and paint it, and some use a hard plastic that's pretty similar to what the original weapons were like, but they're breakable. And the old weapons, that's one thing, you can't just snap them. You have to bend them, unless they've been out in the sun or something like that. Like, for instance, this Yoda cane right here. This is how you can tell a Yoda cane is original. You can bend it like that right there, and it doesn't break, right? And it just goes back. Whoops! It just goes back to form. And also, you can't really tell here. Let me see. Let me get out of the light. The design on the cane is really detailed.
On the knot, right?
On the knot, yeah. And this is what a Yoda cane will look like. And this is the broken one. I got a fresh one because I got a Yoda the other day in the mail that had a repro cane on it. I may pull it out here in a second, and this is what the repro cane looks like. And a lot of times you can't tell from a picture on eBay or a picture on Facebook, but you can see that there's no detail at all on the knot. And it just broke right in half. And it's got white plastic. It's the white plastic and it's painted. And this one you can write with. The painted ones, that's one thing you can do too if you're not sure. If you look at it and like, oh, I don't know, I'm not too sure. If you can do this and write with it, it's a repro.
John, are there any weapons in the line that are supposed to be painted that should be painted, or is that an immediate sign for any weapon?
Charles, yeah, go ahead, Charles.
I think there's only one. Only the Gammy, the axe, is the only one that looks like it's painted or maybe painted.
Yeah, and the Man-to-Man staff too.
Yeah.
The skulls on the Man-to-Man staff.
Yep. Yeah. Most of the other ones are just made out of plastic and no paint on them at all. But I always look at that first when I look in a photo on Facebook or on eBay or online or something. I always look for like a really shiny weapon. It's not all the time, but when they're just super, super shiny, it could be a repro. And then when I get it in, I skip the water, floating the water thing. I just write with them. I'll write with them on a piece of paper. If the color comes off, it's a repro right away. If the color, if there is no color, then you can always skip to, some other step. The water, the sound test, where you drop it onto, like a surface, hard surface and stuff like that. So
you got to do your research though on the water test, because some are supposed to float and some are supposed to sink. And even the repros do the same. Some of them do. Some of them will float and some of them will sink, just like the real one.
Yeah. Well, the factories, they got smart and they made these weapons so they can float. So now they could pass them off as, hey, now they're real, but they're not.
Yeah, there's several, like the sabers are hard to tell. Easy way to tell with the sabers is they're really loose inside the little sleeve. They're really loose in there. They're smaller in diameter.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Some of them are painted also. I
Yeah.
have a few.
Is that a painted one?
Yeah, there's a painted one.
Yeah.
That'll come off blue. I have a Darth Vader. It's red.
Yeah.
Obvious red though. It's really,
Oh,
really
yeah,
shiny.
that's
Yeah,
like not even the right color. Yeah.
Yeah.
Darth Vaders are usually an orange
Yeah.
red. So, but yeah, here's a Ben Kenobi, and you can see the seam on it too. There's a seam on the top and a seam on the bottom. And another thing too is look at that tip right there. There's no way that tip survived 40 years.
Yep.
Look at that. There's no way. No way.
Yeah, I was at a toy show a few months ago, and somebody had a bunch of Vaders, but they also had all the Vaders that they had lined up had complete, brand new looking sabers. Now they didn't look like they were painted, but I asked the guy, I said, "Are these legit sabers?" And of course he said yes. But I didn't even get that close to them. I just walked away because they were nice looking Vaders, but the sabers were mint, just mint. I'm not saying they couldn't be mint, but
Yeah.
no, it
Had
was
the
just
capes off like
so
this?
scary. They were so scary nice,
Was this the cape? It's just like obviously it's obvious repro.
That looks like it's part of your Halloween costume.
Did you cut that off of Ben Cooper?
Like this?
Yeah. And like I said earlier with the plastic stuff, here's a snow trooper. This is a legitimate rifle, but the tip was bitten off or something. It was chewed on or something, so I cut the end of it off, and you can see that the plastic mold goes all the way through. It's the same consistency, same color, and everything. And here is a repro. I broke the tip off of it. So
Wow, you have,
actually
you have a
never-
Repro snow trooper rifle. I
I've
was
never
like
seen
so
a
sure
Repro.
in my head that didn't exist because they're
Yeah.
not that expensive.
yeah, they're $8 a piece, but
Shane,
Wow.
they make repros of everything,
yeah.
Wow,
even the $5 weapons.
what a colossal waste of time.
Is this real or repro?
Oh, that one I have too.
I go for a walk in my neighborhood and there's snow trooper rifles just littered on the ground. I could just pick one up. They're all over the place.
Yeah.
Can you use that one as a crayon, John?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, same with me. I have the same one there.
Yeah.
What do you about the Palace Blaster?
Palace Blaster?
Isn't that one like always fake too?
Yeah.
I have one too.
Oh, that's a tough one to spot.
The 2-1
say something.
the 2-1B medical.
I look on the
stick.
bottom.
Yeah, you can draw with it. I just drew with it, and the paint came off the bottom. So
Yeah.
the original has the EPM on it.
Yeah.
Some
Some of them don't, though.
This one was shinier, a lot shinier than the other one, and you could write with it.
Yeah, and the other way you can tell too is these are more rectangular than square, and those are square on yours.
Here's a Palace Blaster. So the Palace Blaster, I'll have like a circle on the handle,
Mm-hmm.
and then like a dot
yeah.
near the barrel up there. See, this one has none. So it's like half right.
Yeah. And the other
They
thing you
halfway
can
did
tell, here's a black Palace Blaster. Let me see that. The sight on it, that little bullet point on the sight is missing.
Oh,
That's another way you can tell. And sometimes, it looks like they come off a sprue also, just like the old blasters do. There's a sprue, there's a mark there. I don't know if you can tell.
Mhm.
Right here. There's a mark where it's come off a sprue.
John, describe what that is? The sprue tree? I've heard that
The
before.
sprue tree, it's like it's what they mold all of them in, and like at one time they'll mold 20 or so on a tree, basically. I wish I had I think I may have something. I'll check in a minute. But and then they just break them off. Right? So the mold is poured in, and again, this one doesn't have the circle on it. Like, see that? It's missing the circle on the grip. But the mold's poured in, and they pull out the sprue, and then they break off the accessories off of the sprue.
what do you got there, Brandon?
Yeah.
This is an Imperial Blaster with the rectangle on the magazine that it's easy to spot. That's one of the signs that you can tell right away that it's repo. It's got that rectangle on there, and we'll do pictures. You'll see in the picture what we're talking about. But just because you find weapons, at a store or on the IC or some other kind of group doesn't mean that they're, real. You got to do your research because a lot of people don't know what they're selling out there.
Yeah. That one I think I actually see probably the most is that one. There's so many of those around.
Yeah, there's a store that I know of that has all of these. It's littered with all the figures.
Yep. Very, very. Those are all over the place. And then these are a little bit harder to see, but these Rebels, if you look on the back, it's supposed to be a circle on all of them. This will have a square. Repros have a square on it. So I have a whole bunch of these.
What's funny is I got this from a childhood collection.
Yeah, sure you did.
The old childhood collection.
Yeah, no joke. The guy said he's had it since childhood. And I was like, oh, with the square on it. Exactly, yeah.
How old was he? 30?
He bought it from a 9-year-old.
It would actually make sense, though.
Here's an example. Here's an example of a sprue.
Oh, cool.
Sprue tree, and this is an accessory for the the vehicle maintenance energizer, and it would be in the mold like that, and then they would just pull it apart or break it or whatever. So they could mold what looks like there's 8 on this sprue, and you can just pull it off. So.
Yeah, that's cool to see. That reminds me of like when we were kids, if you'd get a board game, a lot of times if there was a lot of plastic pieces, it would come on one of those things, like the Game of Life or something with a million plastic pieces.
All the Ninja Turtles would come with the original Ninja Turtles. They would all come with the weapons on a sprue.
Yeah, you're totally right. I forgot about that. Yeah. I remember pulling all those ninja stars off and all the daggers and everything. I have 3 Ewok accessories here. And all 3 of these are painted. And the interesting thing is this Ramba / Wicked Spear, and I know it's slightly different, but they're actually, it's hard to tell in here, but they're actually 2 different brown colors. So they're not even exactly the same, but they're both painted. And this Paplo staff is another, painted color. And like John said, I didn't really remember this, but like John said a minute ago, he's right. You can actually see the seam on here as well, which you don't really see on, I'm trying to twist these. You don't really see them on the real ones, but you can see a seam. You can see that it's glossy and shiny. And Charles is the first one that told me not that long ago, a couple months ago, right? To try to write on with a piece of paper, and it's like a colored pencil on a piece of paper. It comes right off, and you know right away that it's painted. And now I kind of know what that looks like. So when I pull something out, you can tell once you've seen it, you can tell if something is plastic or painted. It just looks different. It just has a different sheen to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with the Paplu staff, there's a letter stamp on here. You can just barely see it. I mean, it is so tiny. You might be able to see it glisten or something, but there's a letter stamp on there. Usually a Z, I think, wasn't it? Is it a Z that's on
I think
these?
most of them are Z, yeah.
Yeah, but this one does have a seam too, though, Shane.
That's a real one?
That's a real one, yeah.
Okay, so maybe it's just that it's more pronounced on these ones because it's painted.
Yeah. Because the way the mold was, it was...
Okay.
I think
so. If you did a video...
Here's the thing you can do with this one that you can't do with yours.
Yeah.
Wow, you're going all the way with that thing.
I believe that this is real. So I wouldn't. That's a what $50 staff?
Yeah.
And you're right, John. Here's the repro. I'm getting like a lot of resistance right there. I can't go much.
Keep
more
going,
than
Shane.
that.
Keep going.
Keep going. Keep going. Another one.
Yeah, the same.
So
with these. They don't go anywhere.
If you actually dropped yours, Shane, yours would go all over the place. And if John did his will kind of just fall, a very small bounce and just stick.
Yeah.
I remember comparing those 2 that you suggested. to go along with the Ewok theme, and then I'll pass over to Brandon in 1 second. I also have 2 bows here, and these are
Those are normally painted.
I believe the light brown one is painted. I don't remember if the dark brown one is, but it's the
dark
wrong,
brown one looks
it's the
like a
wrong
legit
color
wood.
too.
Is it gray or is it dark brown?
It's a dark brown, but it's like not like grayish brownish enough. It's almost like the wrong color compared to the real one.
Is there an EPM on there?
This one is not. So say that again.
Is there an EPM on that brown, the brown one?
I don't think so. But I think let me check. I think this one is painted as well. Totally is. I mean, you can see the mark I just made with it.
And that's the first thing you should do. You get a weapon, wipe it on a white piece of paper.
Yeah. So
First
I've got 2 bows here, and you can imagine I actually just got a Warrock bow this week to be the final accessory for my line that I needed. So you can imagine me getting these over the past few months being fake. This was the bow that I needed for so long, and then I get it, and I'm drawing doodles on my paper with it. So that was pretty disappointing. Brandon, what do you have over there?
Yeah, Brandon.
The Zuckus rifle.
That's
hard
painted.
plastic, a lot harder than the other one, and also you can write with it. I just wrote Shane's name all in black.
You
I
have
don't
a
even want to
painted
know how you
Zuckus?
spelled it. Oh, I thought it was going to start with an A and an S.
Oh man. Yeah,
But it was a dead giveaway as soon as I got it, because it was like, it felt really hard and very stiff. Not like the typical
Excuse
one
me?
that you can bend. It's a kid's show. Might need to bleep some stuff out, John.
And then there's like some that are just so not.
Oh yeah.
It's just not even the right
That's
color.
a horrible
The black one.
reproduction.
Is it black Bespin?
That looks like a eBay special right there.
Yeah, it's not even close. It actually was from eBay too. I hate eBay.
eBay.
Charles, you made a good point earlier when you said about like the history of the reproductions, and whoever said that they started making ones that float. That's a really good point. Is that the ones that are older? There are a lot out there that have really weird, like the mold is really bad, and like it's not even the lines on it are not even defined well, and you can kind of just tell that it doesn't look right. But they've gotten progressively better. Not only are they making things float, but they're getting them closer and closer to the originals.
Oh yeah.
And so it's getting harder and harder to pick them out, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of people think that you throw it in water, hey, it floats. Here, it's good now. But a lot of the repros float now, so have to draw with it, look at it. There's a lot of stuff to look for, but
Yeah, and
once you know what you're doing, it's
and that's
easy.
become a selling point too with these weapons. It's like I've noticed on these different sites and stuff that says the weapons will float. They don't say that they're not original, and they don't say that they're repro. They just say that the weapons will float. So the novice collector is going to say, "Oh, it floats. It must be good." But that's not always the case. Like Shane was saying, they're getting way better. And I'll show you guys this in a second. But I have two pilot blasters, and the molding on it looks, almost identical. Almost identical. Except for on the sight, on the real one, you can see that little nipple there. I don't know. I can't get a good. We'll get some pictures up. But see that right there?
Yeah,
On the
the little
side?
piece on the front, right?
Yeah, and you can't see it. It's not there on that one. And the other thing on the pilot blaster is there's an indentation right here next to the barrel at the end of the stock or whatever. On this one, it's a bump. You see that? Wait, can you see the bump? This is awful.
And it like weighs
all
nothing.
four of us are
Right
leaned
there.
forward in our chairs looking for John's bumps and nipples.
But yeah, they're pretty. That's a pretty good reproduction. But it's definitely reproduction.
What's the weight on it? Is it heavy or is it just really super light?
It feels. Now that I'm feeling it, you can feel the difference in the plastic. For sure. You can definitely feel the difference in the plastic.
So I have a black one.
Yeah.
And it's like a feather. It weighs nothing. At all.
Yeah. And there's also, it almost feels like it's a piece of balsa wood or something. You know what I mean? It's really light, almost wood texture-y. I don't know.
I was outside before and I was looking through all the sticks and I was like, you know what? This is a balsa wood. I never even heard of that.
Really?
Yeah. Balsa wood is what they make those airplanes out of when we were kids.
The ones with
rubber band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now I know.
Balsa wood. But yeah. Oh, another thing too is the comm links. It's really tiny. But you can see how the
May need a magnifying glass for this one.
those three dots on there are not evenly spaced at all.
On your nail, you talking about, or?
Yeah, on my nail. Like on this part of the palm.
Is that the small nipple or the medium nipple?
This has 3 nipples, and they're close together.
I wish I had 3 hands.
So I just got this one. I got a solid black Jowl Blaster.
Oh my gosh, where did you get that?
Solid. On eBay. Again. Always
like
eBay.
That's like the solid black Stormtrooper blaster.
Most of these things
are
on
dead
eBay,
giveaway right
honestly.
there.
They're mostly on eBay.
Yeah, so one thing that we would all recommend for newer collectors, novice collectors, is to do a little bit of homework before you start, spending big bucks on expanding your collection. And first and foremost, get yourself familiar with what accessories go with what figure, of course, but get yourself familiar with what colors they should be. And each of the weapons, or many of the weapons, I should say, have a range of colors they can be. They can be blue, blue-gray, blue-black, which is really like a dark blue. They can be different shades of gray. They can be really dark gray, like a light black. But get yourself familiar with what options there are out there, because I'll just hold up something I have now. If you come across one that doesn't fit in what is even authentic out there, here's a Leia blaster right there, and it's jet black, and this blaster never came in black. This blaster can be a dark blue, it can be like a medium blue, or maybe even like a bluish gray, but this is not flexible at all. It's super hard. I mean, as soon as I touched this with my fingers, I knew it was fake, because it's just not the right plastic, but it's jet black and shiny, and that was an easy one to identify for me.
And just because you buy stuff on certain groups, it doesn't protect you 100%, because there's still people out there that don't know the difference, and they'll still, push out some of this stuff just like on eBay. There's probably a lot of honest sellers out there that have no idea it's repro. And just because you buy something on a group doesn't mean that it's 100%. You still got to do your research. So that's the biggest thing that I've noticed, is that people like to buy on blind faith, thinking that, whatever you're buying is 100% legit. Well, there's nobody, there's no Facebook police looking for all the repro that's out there in every group. I mean, some of it's pretty easy to spot when it's posted. A lot of it is not, like some of the Saltburn repros that we've seen, where it's even stumping some of the professional experts out there that look at these figures and weapons. So you just got to do your research, and take every sale with a grain of salt, and do your research and study up on the weapons. That's
not even research, but just ask somebody. Text pictures. You can always ask other people. Other people know what they're looking for. So like whenever I get weapons in, I don't even do a repro test. I just send pictures to Charles. He does it all for me. It's perfect. So
take the lazy way. Take the lazy way and send everything
Charles
to Prune Production. Send everything to Chris Christopher W. and he'll forward it all to Charles.
I don't mind it because I get to see all the newer ones that are out. So there's a new one all the time that I've never seen before. So there's so many out there. I would just, stick with a site that is, repro free. They know what they're doing, and not to promote our site, but ours is not going to be selling repros. So,
and
yeah, that's a good point. I was going to say, be aware of what group you're in and you're buying in. Be in whatever group you want, but when you're buying, there's a large group that we're all part of that we met through the Imperial Commissary IC, and they're big on no repro. That's just a mantra of theirs. Vintage Alliance is one that James Coleman started recently. He was on one of our episodes as a guest early on. They're a no repro zone. There's many out there. I don't mean to just pick out those two, but Charles is right. We've now started Rogue 5 Toys. You're watching the 5 of us now who are going to be selling on there as things pass through our collection and we upgrade things of our own and move those pieces on. We've gotten pretty good, and Charles is an expert at, and John as well, picking out repro, and like Christopher said, I send pictures over to them as well. So we're all working in coordination with each other, and we are going to be making an effort not to sell any reproduction weapons or figures, which is another thing that we should address in this episode. But you can feel secure buying from us, and if anything were to ever go wrong, we're going to stand behind what we sold. So that's something that you can be confident in.
All right, everybody, that caps us off for this episode. I hope you enjoyed our discussion about repro weapons and min-on cards. Also, some of the other repro figures that you can buy out there that might fill some holes in your collection. Remember to subscribe to 5 Idiots Talking Toys. Hit the subscribe button, which should hopefully pop up on the bottom of the screen there. And also check us out on Rogue 5 Toys, our new toy website. On Facebook, that you can get some nice little goodies in there, some nice toys, nice weapons, and other oddball items that will be coming soon. I'll hand it over to John.
All right. Thanks again for joining us this week, and keep an eye out on all those repros. And again, like Brandon was saying and Shane said earlier, join us on our new sale site on Facebook, Rogue 5 Toys.